What is up, YouTube? Welcome to the Agroforestry Academy channel. Today we've got a special video for you. We did a one-on-one consultation with Erik, which is one of our patrons. Erik has been a patron since the very beginning, and when we launched the patron community, we gave away some bonuses, and one of the bonus was to participate in a draw to have a one-on-one call with us so that we can help people out with their agroforestry system. And Erik was the winner of that draw. So, and he was kind enough to allow us to publish our online chat with him, which went on for over an hour. So lots of information was exchanged, and I think it's going to be of great value for you guys who follow us here on YouTube. That said, I'd also like to remember we've talked about this before, but I want to reinforce because I don't want anybody to miss out on this. We're giving away this bonus again this week. So if you join us until Wednesday, okay, that's the 7th of October, which is tomorrow, you will participate in this bonus that we're giving away again. So, if you join us in our patron community, here's a card. You will participate in the bonuses that we're giving away. First, it's the draw for a one-on-one online session with us, which we will give away one session for every 20 patrons that we have in the community. We already have 20 patrons there. So, and for every 20 patrons that are there by midnight Wednesday, we're going to be giving away a 1 hour live session with us. So, that's a 5% chance of winning. Pretty good odds. And also, everybody who joins will participate in a series of three webinars that we're going to be hosting in a few weeks. That's also something we did when we launched the Patreon community, and it was an amazing experience. We had, people were with us for almost 3 hours while we were discussing some important topics in the webinars. And that's 3 hours per webinar. So, our patrons had over almost 10 hours with us over 3 weeks. And it was a pretty intense experience. Lots of information exchanged again. So here's a card to the patron community. Do join us. You can join us for as little as $7.90, and you will have access to extra information, extra material that we are releasing every week to our patrons, besides taking part in these fantastic bonuses if you join us by tomorrow. Now, without further ado, welcome, Erik.
Started. Okay, I have some old fruit trees. The fruit trees I planted when I bought this plot. So that was in 2006. Yes, but then nothing was here. It was, but I planted some citrus trees. We planted them not in any agroforestry system or something, but just planting and see what it's doing. And I always was interested in natural way of farming, but I have no background, I have no experience, so yeah, I learned by experience. And in 2012, I followed 2012 or 13. I followed the online permaculture course with Jeff Lawton. It was the first time that it was an online course of about 13 weeks. And from then on, from time to time, in the course of the years, you can say from 2013 till now. Oh, good morning. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning. Excuse me. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Sometimes the internet is falling out here, so yeah, this sometimes things happen. It's not. I come from the Netherlands, and everything is perfect. Never have no internet connection, but here the electricity sometimes falls out. So yeah, it's another. But yeah.
Well, it's the same as our house as well. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that the guy you done the course with, he's that guy from the food forest out in the UK or not? Sorry, I didn't research this.
Yeah, Jeff
Lawton. He's from Australia.
Yeah, he's from England. Yeah, he's from England.
Oh, I know him. With the long hair, Yeah,
with a beard and a long. It's a small face, just like me. So it's a long person.
Yes.
And
the British man out in Australia.
Yeah, he lived in England, and then he moved to Australia. And he, if I'm correct, then he took over from Bill Mollison. Bill Mollison is the founder of with David Holmgren, yeah, the founder of the permaculture, the thoughts of the permaculture.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that I followed, and but something in my feelings, something was missing, and I don't know what, because permaculture is for me, it's too big, too much information, and but it's good. It's all good. It's all natural and
yes. Sometimes it's theory, isn't it? Sometimes it's theory, and practically, to close the cycle permaculture-wise, people talk about it's more theory than reality. Unless you have a horse and you're doing everything, to close the cycle. Yeah. Obviously, we do our best. You're the one who mentioned syntropic farming. Obviously, we're syntropic farming, but you did mention that you started following the syntropic farming, and syntropic farming is it's the mechanism of the world. This is the mechanism that the world turns with. It's people study the forest and how the world works. How nature already has its rules, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's really it's the only. I mean, it's the way which we can best.
For example,
nature to take its healthy course.
Yes. For example, if you make in permaculture, there's a lot about making compost, and you have to make compost heaps, and it's good, but it's not natural. So, but it is used as a starter, as a Kickstarter. But I did it. I made about 250 heaps. So I know how to make a good compost heap. But we all getting older, and if you're 60, then maybe I cannot do it because my back or something. So this method, agroforestry or syntropic farming, it's much easier, and you plant it so dense, so much that compost is made by the nature self then.
Yes.
You just make compost directly on the spot.
Yeah.
And actually, there's one important thing about compost besides the work, right? So you have to spend time and you have to spend energy. And like you mentioned, if you're injured or if you're older, you might not be able to do it. But the best part, the best product of the compost is not the final compost, it's the process of composting.
Yes.
So when the process of composting happens on the spot, then the plants they just benefit so much more, so instead of producing microorganisms off your field. You just produce them directly on your field, because then the microorganisms are going to be working. So, and that's going to structure the soil, and it's just, there's just a huge range of benefits for the plant and the soil. So it's I look at compost as a savings account. So the only time I'm going to make compost is if for some reason I managed to get like, I don't know, hundreds of kilos of organic matter, and I don't have the labor to distribute it at the time. So, you know, if all right, so I'm going to save this to use later, then I'm going to create a compost file. But I'm always trying to just use it as I go. So, for example, the kitchen scraps from my kitchen, the food scraps, I just go to the field every day and I just throw them there and, you know, cover it with a thick layer of dry matter, and that's it. And they'll compost there. So it's good. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I use my chickens to make compost. I throw everything, kitchen garbage, anything, and I feed them also with a few plants on the plot. And yeah, from time to time, I go to the chicken pen and I take a wheelbarrow of compost or something like, you can call it tank compost, and I use it on the plot. But it's not in the past. In the past, it was the main activity I did, because but if you only use compost, then in this climate, after 2 months, it's
exactly
gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
So it is not sustainable. It's not sustainable, in my opinion.
And there's a thing as well with the microlife, with all the bacteria from the fresh manure. You know, once you use that fresh in your beds, that bacteria that evolves with the process, and it becomes the new bacteria. You know, it evolves together with the process. It's different from you killing it and then trying to create new bacteria once you implant it, and then, you know, working with that new bacteria, where you can get that bacteria from the fresh manure and make that evolve with the process, and then make good use of that, still that bacteria, kind of like that life form still kind of like you know, transforming together with the bacteria from the field, with the bacteria from the manure, and having an outcome, you know, where the process was all, you know, rather than, you know, you understand, just injecting, you know, the result.
I experienced that since I started last year November by chasing the whole plot. I have not a big plot, but or a large plot, but it's a lot of work to construct it again, especially because I have a lot of trees. So I have to make decisions that I'm going to keep and something. And now, from November till now, it's unbelievable. Okay, you saw the pictures what I post to you.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's I cannot. Okay, from November till June, July, there is a raining season, short raining season, and short dry period, and a long raining season. So that helps a lot. But but it's unbelievable. Sometimes I don't ask, but sometimes I want to ask Nathan, don't grow too fast, because sometimes it's so abundant. It's so abundant. But it's nice. It's nice.
But you know what I like to say to people, like, isn't it amazing when the problem you have on your field is excessive growth? It's like the problem I have is that there's too much stuff. You know, I'd much rather have that problem than having the problem of having soil and too little siltfish.
But that's the joy of doing this. This is fun.
And most of it is food. You know, that's the most of it is food. It's like
and nothing.
Everything that is just food. So I saw your pictures. You've got. It's actually, you're doing a great job, really. I just need to say that again, because it looks beautiful, man. Your rows of trees, and you've got that understory with taro and ginger and all that sort of stuff. It's you're doing it perfectly. So it's really good.
Yeah, but I sometimes it's so I have my background permaculture, and that helps a lot to understand the agroforestry, but the only thing I do is start and learn by experience. Yeah. You can watch 1,000 video clips. You can read.
Yeah, 1 year after the other.
Yeah, but nature is helping me. So sometimes I stand in the field, and I cannot do anything. Then I'm going away because nature just show me don't work today or what. That's why I experience, and so I do the things that nature tells me to do this, do that, and sometimes it's not a failure because nothing can fail. Everything I plant, and I cannot eat it, or I cannot. I have no yield of it. Then it goes to the ground. It's organic matter.
And if you get it wrong, it breeds sprouts and it shows you next time, look, I was right, I'm here, look, I'm better, I'm healthy this time.
Yeah.
And with the pruning, sometimes you have to look at it, and if we're not sure, wait a little bit, and then, like I said, you get the message from nature and it will show you, all right, here it is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I was right to prune.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to do that when you're coming in and doing the radical prune, and sometimes you're in doubt, prune, sometimes you're in doubt, wait.
Yeah.
So so it's really the sensibility there.
Yeah, and that's why I work with nature, and nature respects me, and I respect nature, of course, because I'm part of it. And that's the to say that working together, it's the understanding, and that's the nice part of if you work with nature and don't abuse nature. Nature is thankful for that, because nature knows that everything in the world, on a lot of places, is a mess, and we need to do something, and we don't have 100 years, and wood takes 100 years to produce 2 centimeters of humus, and we can do it a lot faster, and we have to do it because we don't have the time to regenerate a lot of fields.
Exactly.
Do you have any?
I thought it was really cool that your idea of, because you want to, one of your main crops there is the sugar apple.
Yes, right? And I saw the video about the turmeric. Yeah. What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I saw your video about the turmeric last Saturday, and you also thought that your main crop also will be the cash crop.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah. It is one of my. I've been planting lots of sugar apple and and a pretty dense spacing as well. I'm planting them all by seeds, and I'm planting them at a I just plant like 7 seeds per meter of row of trees, because they develop so nicely here. It's a very special place for them, and I imagine they develop very well over there as well. Although you do have a bit more rain. What's your average rainfall? Is it like 1,800, 1,900 millimeters?
I have 78 inches. About 78 inches. It's about 1,700.
1,700.
But the last few years we don't get that.
Okay.
In from 2000 to 2015, 2012, so there were a lot of rain and streets are underwater, but now you don't see it. You don't see that anymore. So here's also a drought, and the dry season is more hotter and drier than the years before. But the sugar apple is a fruit that doesn't need that much water.
Yeah, it actually doesn't even like so much water. It needs the dry season, so it's good.
I look to the future because you want something to plant, but if you see climate is changing or the weather is changing, then you have to yes, how do we say that, you have to go to another product.
Exactly, you have to adapt.
Yeah.
There's one thing that Ernest he's always talking about, and it's a concept that I love, because here's what he says: if you have an ecosystem that's degraded, you need species from less rich ecosystems to colonize it. So if you've got an ecosystem with high rainfall and it's going through a degradation process, you're going to need species from ecosystems with less rainfall to colonize that place, because those species, they won't be able to thrive there anymore because they're used to an abundant condition. So if you take away some of the resources available, so you get poorer soils, you get less rainfall, then suddenly you need species that are adapted to that. So we always need to be one step ahead of what's going on climatically. So, you know, if it's all right, so maybe there will be less
one
rainfall.
step behind,
so
let's say.
Start having a more robust group of plants that will, you know, be able to work with this diminished rainfall. And yeah, but sugar, I love sugar apple, and also because it's a high value crop. I don't know if it's expensive over there, but here in Brazil, it's very expensive. You know, sometimes they will cost like $1 or like 5 reais, which is our currency here. So like a good sugar apple, like a 400-gram sugar apple or something like that, it will cost about 5 reais, and that's about $1.
Oh, then I have to send them to you, because here I sell them for, because but I'm not too expensive, but I sell them for, if I about $0.25. That's the price.
Each?
Yeah, each, yeah.
Yeah, but what size? Because here in Brazil,
that's about I sell about $1.50 for 1 kilo. Sometimes it's
all right for one
five pieces, 6 pieces. So that's the some weight about most of the times they weight about 200 and 300 grams.
What's the market like?
Yeah, these like medium size, they will cost about like 60 to 60 cents of a dollar here.
Yeah.
Medium size, like $1 is the really big ones, right? So, you know, from 400 grams and up. And
I don't have that.
By the way, how has the production been of your sugar apples? How many fruits are you getting per plant?
Some trees give about, but they give 2 times a year. Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's good.
I
without irrigation, you don't need irrigation, right?
I don't water I never water.
Wow, this is amazing. They produce twice.
Yes, I think.
Beautiful.
I don't know.
So they have to be cheaper. That's why they have to be cheaper.
No, but nobody sells them here. That's why I'm produce them and selling them. But what I noticed and what I learned is that as soon as you prune sugar apple, then let me say so. No, there is 1 month of dormancy. The leaves fall, and then after 1 month, the leaves come back. Plus, if you see the leaf grow, then the flowers also grow.
Exactly.
So if you prune the sugar apple, doesn't matter when, the sugar apple thinks, hey, I need to produce again because the leaves are away. So if you partly prune that's what I want to try.
Maybe a second harvest.
When I partly prune.
There's a I don't know how many times you've experimented with that, but there are moments, and I've had that experience. If you prune it in the wrong time of the year, there's going to be a major drop in production. And I don't know if due to different climates, but usually if you prune it a lot before the active growing season of the sugar apple, it will just take way too long to start producing new shoots. And I've actually had the experience of, well, for our climate here, you know, if I prune them in July, for example, if I prune them now, they're not going to release new shoots until November, right? So they're going to be leafless. And this is funny because if I prune them in the end of September, they're going to be releasing new shoots in 15 days or 20 days. So there's actually a huge like a negative effect for the wrong time of pruning.
This is the dormant season now.
Exactly.
So what I see, I have my fruiting season from May to July. So it's
because you're in the northern hemisphere, right? So it's going to be your winter is, you're in summer right now, right?
The winter is coming now because it's now the start of the large dry season. And
now is the large dry season.
Yeah. Okay. And it's hot. It's hot now. But what I see, the leaves are falling. The leaves are, but some trees they are bald, and they are coming back. And so the natural way of the tree is after the yield they lose all the leaves.
You just had a harvest, right?
Yeah, I just have a harvest, and now the leaves are coming back with the flowers, and I have the next yield in about December, January.
Okay, so basically you're gonna have like December, January one yield, and then June, July the second yield.
Yeah, and that's both in the raining season. Then I have the yield. So the dry season is to develop the leaves and the fruit, I think, because that's the tree telling me.
Exactly.
But what I mean with pruning is I prune the shoots, the high how do we say that the
like the suckers.
The suckers, yeah. I prune them back to 10 centimeters above the mother. Yeah, and then they also produce also new leaves. But if they don't, then the other that produce still the new leaves and the fruit, they give fruit. So I have what I noticed. I have in January, December. Less yield than in the main yield is in May till July.
Exactly, which is the summer yield.
The summer yield, yes. And in total, you can say I think about 70 fruits per tree.
Are you doing manual pollination, or are you just doing?
I don't pollinate. I don't pollinate. I think
you should try that out. You should experiment with that, because
yeah.
Manual pollination. Because the thing is that the sugar apple, it has a problem of the maturing of the male and the female part of the flower, right? So basically, when the flower opens and then the male parts are available, the female parts are already not receptive anymore to the. So actually, in order for it to pollinate, there's this beetle that opens a hole in the base of the flower and goes inside. So it's a very problematic pollination. So you can.
But I have a lot of beetles. But I have a lot of beetles.
Yeah, but still, I think it's interesting to experiment with that, because it's.
But
you can
the trees are too high.
Probably raise from 70 to 200 fruits per plant.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
And they get bigger, because you know how sugar apple, it's quite often. I don't know if you have that problem as well, but sometimes there are parts that are of the fruit that are underdeveloped. Like some of them are not like completely round. They've got some underdeveloped parts, and that's mainly due to a lack of pollination. You can get like really much bigger fruits. It's worth experimenting.
Yeah,
it's easy. It's not so hard.
But pruning is the most critical. It's an important thing to do.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And for sugar apple, it's essential.
Yeah, it's essential.
Sugar, it's essential. You cannot go without pruning. And it's amazing, because since it produces the fruit in the new shoots. You can just keep reducing the canopy. Like I just leave very short branches. You can do radical prunings every year. It's an amazing plant, and I love it how
it's really dense, isn't it? You plant it every meter and a half.
Exactly.
Yeah, I plant them now every meter and a half, and I want to plant them with the trellis system, but I don't know if but I want to plant that. I want to prune them like the espalier trellis system, but I don't think I use an espalier trellis system, because they use it and you have to make it strong, because the sugar apple is not so a tree that has how do you say that? It's an easy tree to prune and to make the form you want, because it has no meters long shoots or something. It could be, but it's just like you say, you can prune it back to 1 meter, half a meter, and then it resprouts, and in the same year there is new fruit growing on the new shoots. So it's an easy tree to prune, but you have to do it. And there's sometimes I plant all things, but now I decided sugar apple will be my main crop, or my cash crop, or you call it. So I have to give them the attention,
of course,
as a cash crop. You have to give them the attention as a cash crop. Then you can.
Do you have anything over it?
Sorry?
Do you have anything over it in the strata above it? As an emergent
at the moment they are as high as the highest strata I have. Okay, the Moringa trees are higher, but
the Moringa,
but they need the full sun. So for me, it's about let's say the highest strata. They need no shade. If they shade, then I think I don't know for sure, but what I learned is that the sugar apple needs full sun whole year,
Yeah, but actually, the sugar apple, it's a medium to low strata plant, actually. But the thing is, since it is a plant because it comes from dry areas. So and then there's a difference. You know, if you get a medium to low strata plant from an evergreen forest, it has a completely different behavior than a low strata plant or a medium to low strata plant from the deciduous forest. Because the sugar apple, although it is a medium to low strata plant, it comes from forests that are going to have no leaves for a good part of the year.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe for like 5-6 months, they're going to be in pretty much full sun. But then at other parts of the year, they will be in the shade, and they develop beautifully if you time the pruning of the higher strata at the right time. Then you can have sugar apples as your medium strata plant, and they just produce really beautiful. So for example, Moringa trees.
Moringa is perfect.
They're a great companion. They are the perfect companion because they lose their leaves, and they don't have so much of a thick canopy. You know, they have a bit more of a thin canopy. So you can have Moringa trees above sugar apple, no problem. So for example, in my systems, I'm planting cashew with sugar apple. So the idea is to have cashew as the high strata and then sugar apple as the medium strata. But then it's all a matter of timing the pruning of the higher strata so that the sugar apple gets sun when it needs. And that's basically and mainly during the flower. When it's going to flower, it's going to need that sun to induce flowering. But then
the cashew drops the leaves as well, doesn't it?
It can develop the fruit in the shade, no problem. Of course, it can't be a very dense shade, you know, but just you know, that
20%.
Yeah, a bit more. Sugar apple needs a bit more, you know, because it's a medium, you know, it's medium to low strata. So it's kind of like a lime or something like that.
Similar to the jabuticaba.
Yeah, I'd say it needs a bit more sun than jabuticaba. Jabuticaba can tolerate more shade. Coffee can tolerate more shade. Cocoa can tolerate more shade. Because the reason for that is that the sugar apple does come from dry lands, right? So it comes from deciduous forests.
Yeah.
So and this is a major difference.
As well.
This is a major difference because it loses its leaves, and all the trees around, they need to lose their leaves. And when you go to deciduous forests, what happens usually is the emergent trees are the one which lose the leaf first. So you have the loss of leaves from the emergent layer, and then the high strata loses the leaves, and then the medium. So it's like you start getting sunlight starts coming in gradually as the dry season progresses. So, you know, at some point, the medium strata is going to be in full sun, and then it's going to flower, and then it's going to the leaves start coming back, and it will mature the fruits in the shade.
Yeah,
that makes a big difference. It has influence in the amount of sugars in the fruit. There's a lot of stuff. So
the moringas with the soft wood from the moringa, it's really easy to prune as well. Sometimes you don't even need the ladder, because you know that helps with it. If you have the moringa up there,
yeah, the moringas are perfect.
Yeah, really easy
and
to
they lose
prune
the
as well.
No, the moringa tree doesn't lose here any leaf.
Never?
Never.
Wow.
Yeah, so my moringa trees, it's unbelievable for me. So I have a small plot, so my only question is, do I need because a lot of people plant with eucalyptus, but I have a small plot, and I see that the moringa tree, the eucalyptus tree, grows about 5-6 meters per year. I just like that, huh?
Yeah,
but my moringa tree grows about, if I can prune it every 3 months, and then it's about 3 meters. So I pruned about 12 meters per year, the Moringa.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Moringa does grow as fast as eucalyptus. There's no doubt about that. The difference is that it doesn't produce as much organic matter as eucalyptus because it's just because the eucalyptus is just more robust. So, you know, maybe they grow the same in height, but eucalyptus just has more matter.
Volume.
You know, that's the difference. Yeah. But I actually think the Moringa works perfectly for you because your crop is sugar apple. So I think it's more efficient. It's a more efficient management because it's and also because Moringa is just, you know, it's easier to cut. It's got a more of the branches are softer. So you know, I would focus on Moringas, and maybe it could be interesting to have, you know, some eucalyptus more far apart. You know, I don't know, like every 6 meters or every 8 meters or something like that. Yeah. So that you wouldn't require such a because if you had eucalyptus with sugar apple, you would need to be pruning them like 2 or 3 times, two times a year at least. Yeah. And a lot of growth.
Yeah, and because I have this plot developed, because I'm now in a stadium that I don't have to water anymore, and so the eucalyptus tree keep a lot of moist, but I have to introduce them in an existing system, and I don't know for sure if the eucalyptus tree likes that, and if so I don't know for sure. But the Moringa tree it's a very easy tree, of course, but when I prune it, then there are and I have Moringa trees. They have 10 shoots. I can prune them every 3 months. Every 3 months. 10 shoots, about 3 meters. I have a lot of biomass. It's not one.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine.
So and they don't lose their leaves. Other people, they have Moringa trees here and they lose their leaves because they plant on a higher water table. My water table is.
Just 1 second. The meeting is going down in a bit.
Yeah, I see it.
But then I'm gonna create a new link.
Okay.
And I'll send it to your email.
Okay.
And then we'll come back. Just so you know.
You know, I think
so other people Moringa plants, they actually lose their leaves.
Yeah, because of the high water table. I plant. I have a project in nearby the coast, and there is a higher water table, and there's playground, and if it in the raining season, the Moringa tree don't grow, or grow slowly. They don't die, but they grow slowly, and they lose the most of the leaves. But I have a higher water table, and I don't see any stop or any loss of leaves.
Do you think it could have a relation as well with the pruning that you have? Because since you're pruning the Moringa, it's always evergreen, you know, it's always new shoots, and you know.
Yeah, always that's correct. Yeah.
And then, you know, it's not losing leaves because every time you prune, it's always so vigorous and so young.
Yeah.
You know, as well. But it really, you know, I see you have your masses and you have lots going on there, but you know, for you to have a good plan of systematically what is going to be your organic matter producer. We're saying we're not going to work with eucalyptus. The Moringa, you're saying, produces quite a lot. Thin leaves, but yeah, you're saying.
Yeah, Moringa.
Yeah, this thing of the pruning is it's a very interesting trick to maintain trees evergreens, you know. So I like to do it a lot with pigeon pea. Pigeon pea is also, you know, a crop that I use a lot, and it is a plant that will lose the leaves when it goes into flowering stage. But if you prune it at the right time, it's just going to be even during long droughts, it can be evergreen during long droughts. So it's a great trick.
Yeah, and that's why I want to.
You know what? a species that I thought would be interesting for you to experiment with is cajá. I don't know how you call it over there, but it's from the genus Spongius mombin. Let me see if I can find a picture.
Oh, I know. I don't. Yeah. It's like a green. It's like a green. It's a fruit. It's a fruit.
It's yellow.
It's yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's small fruit.
It's a small fruit, sour.
Yeah, I know it.
It's a huge.
It grows really fast. It will grow in already established forests. It actually likes to grow in already established forests. You know,
oh, okay.
It will just shoot up really quickly. And since you already have a pretty dense forest, I thought it might be. I think it might be an interesting thing. I'm going to share the picture here with you just to.
Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
The tractor arrived while we were in the meeting, so in the beginning I was talking.
The tractor arrived?
Yeah, so these guys, they never tell you when they're coming. And all of a sudden the tractor arrives, so
all right, so here it is.
There quickly and go for it.
This is it. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Let me on the. I think we call it here mope.
Yeah, here in Suriname, the fruit's called mope.
Yeah, then I know. But yeah, I know that tree. I know that tree.
This is an amazing plant. It is a plant that loses its leaves, so that's a good thing, you know, because of the sugar apple. It is a plant that can be above the sugar apple. It's an emergent tree. So, you know, I mean, you have somewhat of a small plot, right? It's 1,100 square meters.
Yeah, let's say 1,100. Yeah, and there is a house and home on it. So
okay. So you're gonna have like So you know, this is a pretty big tree. It grows pretty big. So you know, if you have one or two, that's already that will already be enough to occupy the emergent layer.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just I love this plant. And you know, if you plant it by seed, like I told you, it will grow really quickly in an already established shaded system. It will quickly shoot up, and then it will open its canopy above it, and it creates these huge tuberous roots which retain a lot of water. So that's a great thing. It has very thick roots.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and the fruit is amazing. You know, it's delicious. You know, for juice or just I just like to eat them raw. They're pretty sour, but I kind of like that.
Yeah, we make drinks. Yeah, so some people make drinks of it. So it's a nice.
They make what?
Drink.
Drink.
You can drink.
A drink.
Yeah, drinks. They throw sugar in it because it's sour, but it has a nice flavor. That's a nice flavor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
have a tree, but I in the about 50 meters from here there or 100 meters there is a tree, but the lady told me last year she want to cut them because I don't know, because it grows too big.
Yeah, it grows too big.
Yeah, but they don't know. Most of the people are afraid to prune. That's
exactly.
Why, and because they think if I prune the tree, then then the tree dies or something. But
it's the contrary.
Yeah, it's the contrary. Yeah. Because when I came to Suriname, everybody told me, don't plant cassava too much and too often, because it robs minerals and vitamins. It pours the soil, and it's the opposite.
Exactly. People have it's funny because you know, most people, they blame the plants and the animals, but the problem is the system in which they produce.
Yeah.
So, you know, the main problem with cassava is not the plant, it's the excessive weeding that's done with a hoe. So, you know, that kills the soil because people maintain the soil completely bare, without any other plant. And, you know, they're using a hoe here in Brazil. Sometimes during the growing period of cassava, you know, from between 10 to 14 months, they're going to do 5 weeding operations with a hoe. So, you know, if you're just, you know, you're hitting the soil with the hoe like 5 times a year, it kills everything. It will kill everything. You know, it will, especially if it's a more clay soil, because the friction that the hoe makes on the soil will, you know, it slowly clogs up the pores of the soil, and then water suddenly doesn't drain anymore, and it's just it starts killing everything.
Yeah,
so
and
it's not the plant, it's the producing methods.
Yes. And if you plant dense and you plant enough between the let me say so, the system over time, the system is so much composted by the way of pruning and other things that weeds don't have any chance. They don't need their weeds are need for bare plots to cover that soil. They are very let's say the most of the people don't understand why there are weeds. They see it as a disaster, or as an invasive something, but they are invasive because they need to be invasive to protect the soil.
Exactly.
That's what they are doing.
Exactly. They're actually doing the job.
Yeah, they're doing the job. They are in the pre-status, because I think 10,000 years ago everything was wood. I think so, but we are everything is cutting down. So there is, and the only way to keep the soils moist and minerals in it is that the weeds are coming. The weeds are waiting. If they no need, then they don't grow. The system tells you are not necessary, but they are there. The seeds are there. Yeah.
And as we gradually enrich the system, you know, as our system gets richer and richer, also the weeds get richer and richer, because actually many of the crops that we eat, they can become weeds. For example, taro, if you have a shaded plot which is very rich in organic matter, taro is going to become a weed, because it's just going to, you know, it starts sprouting all around, because, you know, a piece of the tuber was left down. It's just going to start multiplying. Then suddenly, instead of having grass and all these other nasty, you know, weeds with pricks and all that, you suddenly start having other weeds, you know, like abundant weeds from systems of abundance.
Yeah,
it's a different thing. Even banana plant is a weed.
I'd like you to explain to us about how you feel about the Mombasa. I've seen the photos there. I've seen some very vigorous Mombasa, and how you feel about, you know, how much of the area you've introduced the Mombasa. How much do you count on it, or would you like to in the future? You know, because you know, just before we cut, we're talking about, you know, the eucalyptus being very powerful, but, you know, we choose not to use it in your plot. But, you know, I've seen the Mombasa in the lower layer producing a lot of biomass. You know, for me, these two with the bananas are the key biomass producers in our climates. So how do you feel about the Mombasa? How confident are you to expand on that? You got other things on the lower layer. How much does those things, you know, because it's very dense already. So already everything is shaded, your soil is covered. But how much biomass you produce in, you know, I understand the Moringa, but the Moringa won't produce as much as the Eucalyptus. So what else have we got going on? I understand it's very dense and everything you prune is going to contribute. But how do you feel about the Mombasa being one of the main biomass producers?
Yeah, I tried the Mombasa grass. I don't know for sure if it is Mombasa grass, but I think it's a sort kind of Mombasa grass.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked like because it had the leaves are very.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Mombasa, seeing here was from the family.
But what I noticed is it's a very good plant to grow it in the full sun. But I am shaded. I have a lot of shade, and they don't grow. That's my experience. They don't grow much in the shade. So I planted from November. Everything was Mombasa, 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 but now I see in some places it resprouts not
so vigorous.
So
that's curious. It's curious because the Mombasa, everything will need a half sun, but it does thrive shade quite well. This is one of the reasons we choose Mombasa. You know, we
but some old. I took it from a field, from an open field. And next to me, there's an open field, and I took there the grass, which I thought it looks like Mombasa grass, but that grass grows. That field is, as long as I live here, that's an open field, but only grass. And I mow it from time to time because the neighbor was spraying it. And I asked the neighbor, what if you don't spray anymore and I mow it? Okay, he said it's all right. So I did that, and I because he wanted to spray it, and then I saw that, and okay, we have an understanding about it. And that field, that plot is as long as I know it's open, and maybe that grass is used to open spaces, and I introduced the Mombasa grass
adapted,
and maybe I have to use another grass, but it's no problem because what I now do, I plant a lot of maize, corn.
Nice.
It's an amazing grass, and I have no seeds from the sorghum, but I ordered them, and one of these days I hope to receive them. But the coronavirus, the post is not working here, and so I don't know when I receive them. But I want to try it with Mombasa grass, and in one of the first round, the round table, the first episode. I don't know the name, but the guy told about the Mombasa grass, but it's a hybrid grass. It grows just like the Mombasa, the sorghum grass.
Sorghum.
Like
the sorghum, the sorghum.
Yeah, it was a cross. It was Joshua. He talked about the cross between sorghum and Sudan grass.
Sudan grass. It's a hybrid, so I don't know for sure if I can use it here because all is natural here, but I think I will give it a try. And that also needs a lot of sun. But what I do now is I use the pathways, because I don't plant grass between the 3 rows, because if I do that, then I don't have so much. Then I have only the yields of the 3 rows. Yeah. So I plant vegetables, ginger, turmeric, you name it, between you saw it in the pictures. And what I want to do is I want also plant the pathways, but in an intelligent way, so that I can go to the field and walk on the pathways, on one of the pathways. And I want to plant. I plant them. So from time to time, I plant the path also with corn, or with beans, or with but crops, which takes about 2 to 4 months. So that is maybe.
So when you prune everything, the sun comes in, you plant the corn, the beans.
Yeah, and what I have is a lot of stinging nettles. You know that?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And they occur here, and I don't get. It's a nice weed, because the chickens love it. You can use it as a tea, but it grows abundance here. So
which plant? I didn't understand which plant.
Stinging nettle. It's about
Stinging nettle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
hey, it's edible, right?
It's edible, yeah. It's a good plant, because
But isn't there a trick that you cannot touch it, but you can touch it with your tongue or something like that?
Oh no, this is a variety. I did plant them, but they don't sting.
Oh, at all?
You have 2 varieties. You have a stinging, but this kind doesn't sting. So
So do you find that as far as producing organic matter is concerned, you find that it's okay? You're producing already with the corn, you're producing with the pruning of the trees around, the bananas. Do you find that you produce enough organic matter? This is the question, or you're looking for a solution to aid this key aspect?
Yeah, that's the a little problem what I have now. At the
because
moment,
if you have crops and crops and crops, in the middle, they'll always produce organic matter as well. The taro, everything will produce organic matter, and it's working the soil and it's great. But we're talking about like main organic matter species, there to produce, there to feed back the soil. So this is what I'm trying to ask you, and really know if that's okay. If you're telling me I have enough trees, I do the pruning, and I produce a lot of organic matter, I'm okay with that? Or is this something that you're still thinking about, you're still testing? And
yeah, I need more organic matter. That's for sure. And
every time, every year I'm more convinced how much, because every year I pass, I have all the eucalyptus. I have 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 10-year-old eucalyptus, and I can see that every year that goes past, how much more and how much I depend on the eucalyptus. In my farm, I'm discovering how much I depend on the eucalyptus. Before I really like thinning them out and cutting them down and letting them start with new shoots. But I see how much I depend and how much the eucalyptus sustains the whole forest. You see, so once you're not working with eucalyptus, obviously there's other trees that can do the bushes. So I'm asking you, what have you got there that is going to produce, or is this something that we're going to be thinking about?
The grass, the Mombasa grass, I produce a lot. You
still produce a lot with the sun. The sun comes in, and
yeah, I have some plots where I still can produce at the moment a lot. But I think I have to do is to prune more pruning, so that more sun, more light is coming in, so that the Mombasa grass, which I believe is for me, what I experienced till now, one of the best biomass producers. And that is for me a key issue, to bring enough light in the system. But I'm working on it. But now I have to shade the system because it's too hot.
Yeah.
Too hot between 1 and 4 o'clock or 12 or 4 o'clock. Then you see the plants. It's no problem, but you see the plants hang a little because it's too hot. But it's a natural reaction. After 4 o'clock, you see them up. Yeah.
And in winter, does it get really cold out there? Winter, does it have hot days and cold nights, or just all cold?
No, we have a temperature between nights. It's not getting colder than 22 degrees Celsius.
Oh, excellent. So you have rain.
It's close to the equator, and it's
yes.
It's very low altitude.
Yeah.
So it's probably the temperature doesn't change much throughout the year, right?
No. We have between 22 degrees and 36, 37 degrees in the
so
night.
A lot of growth with the rain season. A lot of growth.
Yeah, you know, I'm taking some looks at the big. Let me share the pictures.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I think it's an important thing. You know, when we're and this, even when we're planning the systems, is that it goes back to that idea of the timing. I think that for proper organic matter production, timing is one of the most important things because, like the system is a system, right? So it is a whole body that works together. So we want to have as much as we can, you know, plants growing together, you know, at the right time. So it's a matter of synchronizing, you know, pruning with new planting so that as the trees are resprouting, the new plants that we inserted, they're sprouting, they're all going to grow together. Even for Mombasa grass, which is, you know, it does tolerate shade, but for example, if you have Mombasa grass in between rows of trees or in the path or wherever it is, it will grow so much more and it will produce so much more if the whole system is being pruned, you know, all of it is being pruned periodically at the same time. And either all of it, or I think I don't know if you how you devise and how you plan your system, but it's a good idea to have like different modules. So for example, you could have like 4 modules in your system. I always work with modules, so that, you know, like today I'm gonna be resetting module 1. So, you know, I'm gonna be pruning everything, taking the banana down, cutting the grass, and then maybe inserting some new annual crops. Like today I'm gonna do that. 3 months from now, I'm gonna be doing the same thing in like module 2. So when I'm pruning module 2 and putting all that organic matter on the soil, like module 1 is already reestablished. And so I'm basically, you know, going around and cycling modules where each module at least once a year, you know, I'm bringing most of the organic matter down. And whenever you do this pruning of a whole system, you get this new wave of growth. And actually, Bill Mollison talks a lot about that, right, in the permaculture book. How I think this is a very important concept to grasp, which is how nature works in waves, right? So you have like waves of growth because it will grow and it reaches a state of stagnation. And then we come in with the disturbance, right? So we disturb the system. We cause a disturbance by pruning everything back and everything. Yeah. And then it goes into this new wave of growth. I think this is a key aspect to you know, produce as much organic matter as we can. Your rows of trees, they're spaced every 3 meters. Is that it?
Yeah, I tried with 3. yeah, about 3 to 4 meters, because it's the sun is the sun is too hot. I
Yeah,
think.
no, I think 3 meters is a great
Beautiful.
great is a great spacing for fruit production. You know, if you were producing vegetables as a main crop, then I would probably say that 3 meters is a bit too close together, because it's just going to demand so much work. And for vegetable production, I like working, you know, with maybe 5 meters. But for fruit production and taro, you know, taro just grows beautifully in this system. Do you have bananas in all of the trees? And all of the tree rows? Because banana is also a key element, right? For it produces so much organic matter as well.
Yeah, and you can't plant too much. If it is too much, then you prune it. If you plant too much spacing, then and after a few years you think, oh yeah, I could plant more, then it's a waste of it's a loss of in time. So I plant too much. I know that.
Exactly.
But I can prune them, and it is organic matter, so it's
exactly.
Yeah. But the shade also the shade doesn't cover the soil, but it doesn't let the sun go in too much. So in case when I don't have when I don't have enough organic material, then the shade is playing also a role to not to disturb the ground too much. But I know it's not good for forming the life in the soil. But yeah, if you don't have too much organic material at a moment, yeah, then shade is a sort of option, not to disturb the soil too much.
Yeah, I think there are two contributing factors, right? Ideally, we want to have both. I think we don't want to have only shade protecting the soil, and we don't want to have only organic matter. We want organic matter and shade. But it is a tough thing, you know, to produce enough organic matter. Is this leucaena?
Yes, I think, yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that also in the system. Yeah, I think.
What about because I'm trying here to explore new tree species for you. I think it will be the long-term solution for organic matter production. It's going to come from trees. I think like Mombasa grass, sorghum, and maize are obviously going to help a bit. But since it is such a dense plot and a dense forest, and you are already in fruit production, I think we want to get to the level of having trees just producing so much organic matter to cover everything as soon as possible.
Yeah,
and I think there are a few species that are worth considering for that job. You know, one key element which I haven't seen, and I don't think you mentioned it, is jackfruit.
I have jackfruit. I have one tree jackfruit, and I prove that's also a tree that grows 3 to 4 or 5 meters per year. And I have one, and I prune them. I prune them heavily, once, two times per year. I prune it heavily because
it's very dense, isn't it?
Yeah. And I want to plant
something
more.
That you can have. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You know, you can just start having them all around. Just like you said, you already know it. You know, just plant densely and just start spreading seeds all around. I think this is a key. It's a key species. You know, because you've got decent rainfall, you've got heat, everything that jackfruit like. It's just and it's such a rich organic matter. Jackfruit is it's just amazing. You know, you see once the leaves start decomposing, the kind of material that you have is just this rich compost. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And another species that I think is worth, no, it's not a species, it's a genus, which is the Senna genus. It's spread all around the tropical regions of the globe. There are various different species. There's Senna siamea, which is an amazing plant. I don't know if you have it there.
I had it, but I don't know why, but it disappeared. And sometimes
really?
I learned I have more trees that were pioneer species, but literally pioneer species, because when the system was established, or when it's more mature, then they disappear. And that I learned in permaculture, that sometimes species are, or I don't know for sure if I learned in permaculture, but I see it here. Sometimes species grow very, very nice, very, very fast, and then if the system matures, then they don't need to do the job anymore.
That happens for sure.
And
it's all the idea of succession of species.
Yeah, but
there
I
are very different species of Senna. Which one do you have? Do you know which one it was?
It's Senna alata.
Oh yeah, because Senna alata is more of a bush, right? It's not a tree.
No, it's not a tree. But the most of the Sennas have thorns, and that's what I.
They're what?
Thorns. Here in thorns, just like roses.
I understood. Well, there are many species that don't have thorns. Usually the tree species, because there are many which are tree species. For example, Senna siamea is a tree. It's a pretty big tree too. And Senna spectabilis is also a tree. I know that most of the Senna species, they're usually bushes or like just herbs, like herbaceous stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some trees, and I've seen Senna. My favorite is Senna siamea, which I got acquainted with in Mozambique.
Yeah.
Look, it grows. I have to show a picture. I'm gonna show a picture to you just for you to have an idea of how much it can grow. It's gonna take a while to open it, but it's wow, it can grow faster than eucalyptus. It can produce more organic matter than eucalyptus. Really, in some places, right? That's not going to be true for everybody, but it does. So it is an amazing plant that I highly recommend. Looking for species over there. But guys, we have 7 minutes left, and
okay.
I'm gonna have to go. I'd like to continue it, but I'm gonna have to go because I have to go to the nearby city. Yeah. So while I look for the picture, any other specific subject you'd like to talk about, Erik? Do you have any questions you'd like to ask us? We're open.
The question I had about the eucalyptus tree. So is it need I to do that? But you told me the spondias tree.
Right. This is a 10 months old plant. This is Senna siamea. That's 10 months old. 10 months. Look at the size of the branches.
This is going to a tree? Tree or this will be a tree, or is it?
It will be a tree. It becomes a tree.
Whoa.
This is 10 months old. This grows really tall. It's 10 months old. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And you know, it's like I'm 180 meters tall. So this tree is like 3 meters tall. And the branches, I'm actually pulling the branches, right? So these branches that I'm holding, they're like 2.5 meters long. It's unbelievable, honestly unbelievable.
Yeah, that's but I have a lot of other plants who produce a lot of biomass, and but and so but this plant is also a good one. But sometimes I think I have this plant. I had this plant or I have this plant because sometimes plants grow. A bird drops a poop and there is a seed in it, and so sometimes I see plants that I don't plant it, but yeah, they grow and they grow really fast. And the senna, I have more sennas here, but I have one senna tree here. I think it's a shrub, but it looks like it will become a tree, and it grows very, very fast. It's about 3 months, then it grows 2 meters. But I don't know for sure, is it shrub or is it a tree? If you don't prune it, then it loosens. But if you prune it, then it comes back. And
okay.
yeah.
But I'm sorry, you were asking about the eucalyptus. I interrupted you to show the picture.
No, the eucalyptus. I had a question. Is it necessary for me to plant it in the small plot I have? That's one question I have. But I get it answered. You answered that question.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think it's really important to understand that it's not a matter of the eucalyptus. You know, it's not a matter of planting eucalyptus. It's a matter of having highly productive species. I do not have eucalyptus in my plots here, for example, because I have a huge problem with leaf cutter ants.
That's my problem.
Eucalyptus, they don't. I've tried over and over and over again. They don't grow. I have 4-year-old eucalyptus, 5-year-old eucalyptus that are this thin and 2 meters tall. So it doesn't work. You know, of course there are 700 species of eucalyptus, and I'm gonna try other species. But I found substitutes. You know, so that's why I'm always bringing other species as well. So for example, senna, it produces as much as eucalyptus. This species of senna. There is Melia azidarak, which is we call it here cinnamomo. It's China berry in English. China berry produces as much as eucalyptus. Here in Brazil, we've got a few different species, native species, which also grow so much. Acacia manjum, it's also an amazing species. So it's all a matter of, I think this is, let's you know, in order for us to wrap it up, I think it's a good way to think of our system. You have pretty clear to you your main crop, right? It's sugar apple. So once we understand that, all right, sugar apple is medium to low strata. So you don't want to have any other plant that's going to occupy that strata. That's for the sugar apple alone. So your service plants, they need to be of a higher strata. So, you know, you want to have tall strata plants, you want to have emergent layer plants to produce organic matter.
Moringa, the Moringa and the
You have the Moringa, which is a high layer plant. And then you can probably look for one of these emergent plants, which could be eucalyptus, it could be acacia manjum, it could be China berry, one of these sennas. There are sennas that are emergent. The mope, it's also an emergent plant.
The cashew might work as well, right? The cashew might work as well.
Cashew is high layer.
Loses its leaves as well.
These plants producing organic matter, you know, and it's all a matter of having high productivity of organic matter.
Yeah, that's that I'm convinced. Yeah, that I am convincing now. And what I say in the past, I work a lot with compost, but
guys, it's gonna cut at any moment. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Erik. This was really
Thanks.
amazing. And we'll continue in touch. Just message us on Patreon whenever you want. Ask questions.
Show us the photos.
Can I post it on Patreon or?
I'm not sure actually. I'm gonna see about that.
Okay, I'm
gonna see if there can be interaction between patrons. That
we have the group as well.
Oh, yeah,
we usually reply.
We have the Facebook group.
Yeah, how do you say that?
Yeah, you're part of the group.
I know, yeah.
We tend to always reply on the Facebook group, and it's good because other people give opinions as well. It's a really good place for you to show us, bring us your doubts and to show us how your system is being developing. We definitely always answer the questions there and things like that.
Okay. I have an email, so I can send also pictures, and if you want to publish